We've got some more big box office numbers for the Rise of Skywalker. The day after Christmas got $30,568,950 in the US domestic market. This $30 million is a little bit down from what I thought it would have gotten. I thought it was going to get pretty close to what it got the day before, about $32 million, but still a really big number. This brings the total for the first week to $289,796,342. To put this number in context, after the opening weekend, The Rise of Skywalker was about 20% behind The Last Jedi. Had a very disappointing opening weekend. But now after these Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday figures, it's only 3% behind The Last Jedi. So it's tracking very closely and does look like it will probably overtake The Last Jedi this weekend. The official international box office at the end of the first week is $282 million, which is less than the US domestic total. Not a very good result internationally, but that brings the worldwide box office total to $572 million after its first week, so well over $1 billion after 7 days. If you look at the individual territories, the United Kingdom, Germany, France, Japan, and Australia are all strong as expected, but after that things are not going as well for the Rise of Skywalker, and particularly China is doing very poorly. If we look at China for the Last Jedi versus the Rise of Skywalker, we can see that it's less than half, and its box office run is basically done. So it's slightly over $15 million right now, and it doesn't look like it's going to really earn too much more than that. The total box office that The Last Jedi got in China was $40 million. This does not look like it's going to get $20 million, maybe something like $17, $18 million if it's lucky, but it's essentially done in China, so there won't be any big numbers coming out of there to help the international box office. In the last 12 hours or so, Deadline's released a couple of articles. One of them is claiming a $700 million worldwide by the end of Sunday, and the other one's claiming a $380 million US domestic market by the end of Sunday. Now, their reporting up until now has been pretty bad for the Rise of Skywalker. They've overestimated by a fair amount, but their reporting in their previous article claimed a $30 million Thursday, and that is in fact what we've got. So maybe things are getting a little bit more accurate there. And this $700 million for worldwide total Sunday might be quite accurate, and the $380 million in the US domestic market by the end of Sunday, that might be quite accurate as well. When we look at the fastest to 300 record list, The Rise of Skywalker needs another $11 million to get there, so it'll definitely get there in its next day, day number 8, which will be its first Friday. And we can see that day number 8 to get there was the equal 5th best record of Jurassic World there, and also Star Wars Episode 8, and also Black Panther. Now, the way they list these is how much money you get over the 300 million pushes you through the ranks when you have the same number of days, and so the bottom ranked 8th day is the Black Panther with $320 million. For the Rise of Skywalker to get there, it'll need a $31 million Friday. I don't think it's going to get anything like that, so I think it will be behind the Black Panther here on this list. It will be the 8th fastest film to $300 million, or the equal 5th fastest if you want to look at it that way. Obviously, the next record to look after that is the fastest to $350 million. I think it'll probably do that on Saturday, but it will definitely get there on Sunday. So Saturday is 9 days, and Sunday is 10 days to get there. So here on the record list, Avengers Endgame, absolutely ridiculous. 3 days to get there, smashed everyone else. The next best is 6 days. So if you look at 9 days, that's the equal 4th. So that's if it gets there by Saturday, but it'll definitely get there by day 10, Sunday. That will be equal 7th fastest to $350 million. Let's take a look at where the 4 Star Wars movies released in December will line up at the end of 10 days, at the end of their second Sunday. So at the top we have The Force Awakens in blue, nothing really near that. We have The Last Jedi in red, we have Rise of Skywalker in green right next to it, and we have Rogue One down the bottom in purple. And so obviously it looks like The Rise of Skywalker is not going to earn less money than Rogue One. That did look like that could have happened after the opening weekend, but it has definitely recovered after that. Now we are using, again, made-up numbers for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so The Rise of Skywalker may very well be above The Last Jedi, and if it goes by Deadline's figures, it definitely will be, or it could be under where The Last Jedi is at the end of Sunday. But on the Monday coming up, that was Christmas Day for The Last Jedi, where it earned $27 million, and The Rise of Skywalker is not going to get $27 million on the upcoming Monday. On the Tuesday, it's the day after Christmas for The Last Jedi, it got a massive amount of money there as well. It's going to out-earn whatever The Rise of Skywalker gets on its Tuesday. So if The Rise of Skywalker does overtake The Last Jedi this weekend, The Last Jedi should probably overtake it again on the Monday or the Tuesday. So if we add the raw numbers here just to get a better idea of what we're actually looking at, we have The Rise of Skywalker as the third section there, and the big highlighted yellow bit down the bottom, those are the made-up figures. So those numbers are not the real numbers. I've got $25 million for Friday, 29 for Saturday, 24 for Sunday. They're just my best guess right now. I don't even want to put it and pretend it's an accurate prediction because there's nothing really to go on. The highlighted green cells in the grey columns, that's where Christmas Day fell on, and that's why everything's really still all over the place, because they don't have the same makeup. Even though they're all released in the December period, it's difficult to know what's going to happen on this Friday. So the day before Christmas, Christmas Eve, all of the films had a big reduction. They all had a big increase on Christmas Day, but then it depends what day did Christmas fall on as to how big it was. The day after Christmas, they all had a big amount of money, and then the day after that, again, maybe it dropped or maybe not, depending on where exactly the weekend fell. So because on their first Mondays, The Rise of Skywalker out-earned The Last Jedi by a huge amount of money, I'm assuming it's going to out-earn what The Last Jedi gets on their second Fridays. So Last Jedi got $24 million. I've just put 25 in here for The Rise of Skywalker. It may very well be a lot higher than that. And if it is, it'll probably definitely be ahead of The Last Jedi at the end of this weekend. So going forward, as usual, we'll have to wait to see what the real numbers bring, but I think this Friday is really the first crucial number to try to figure out what The Rise of Skywalker is going to get in total. If it earns a lot more than $25 million, or if it earns a lot more than what The Last Jedi got on the equivalent Friday, I think it's safe to say The Rise of Skywalker will earn more money in the US domestic market than The Last Jedi. That's not safe to say internationally still. I still think it looks like it will not earn more money than The Last Jedi internationally got. There's no real reason to think that it's going to pick up a bit from here, particularly since China's done. So that does mean that even if it does out-earn The Last Jedi in the US domestic market, it might not outdo its $1.3 billion that The Last Jedi got worldwide. Now, if The Rise of Skywalker clearly gets less than $25 million, I think it's then safe to go the other way and say that it will not out-earn The Last Jedi in the US domestic market, and obviously it definitely won't out-earn it on the worldwide stage. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.